Europe, a continent so rich in history, its every corner whispers tales of the past. But how much do you know about it? Europe is a vast tapestry woven with the threads of countless cultures, nations, and histories. From the icy fjords of Norway to the sun-kissed shores of Greece, from the rolling green hills of Ireland to the rugged mountains of Bulgaria. This continent is a treasure trove of stories waiting to be discovered. Each nation has its own unique past, its own heroes and villains, triumphs and tragedies, and yet these diverse histories intersect and intertwine, forming the complex and fascinating narrative that is European history. So are you ready to delve into the past, to unravel the enigma of Europe's rich, diverse, and often surprising history? Join us as we embark on this fascinating journey through time, exploring the mysteries of European history. Europe's history begins with the rise of ancient civilizations that left their mark on the world. As we journey back in time, we encounter the cradle of Western civilization, the ancient Greeks. This civilization, rich in philosophy, arts, and politics, profoundly influenced the world. Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, the philosophers of Greece, questioned the nature of knowledge, reality, and existence, shaping the very foundation of Western philosophical thought. Moving westward, we encounter the formidable Roman Empire. From its legendary foundation by Romulus and Remus to its eventual fall, Rome's influence was far-reaching. The Romans, known for their military might, architectural marvels, and legal system, left an indelible mark on Europe and beyond. Their legacies persist in modern times, seen in the structure of governments, languages, and even our calendar. Venturing north, we find the Celts, a collection of tribes with origins in Central Europe. These warriors and artisans spread across much of Europe, leaving behind a rich tapestry of culture and mythology. The Celts were known for their intricate artwork and fierce independence, and their influence can still be felt today in regions like Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. These ancient civilizations, each unique and influential, contributed to the cultural, political, and social fabric of Europe. They gave us democracy, legal systems, philosophical thought, art, and so much more. Their legacies serve as the bedrock of European identities, shaping the continent's diverse cultures and nations. From the philosophers of Greece to the warriors of Rome, these ancient cultures laid the groundwork for Europe as we know it. They sparked a flame that would ignite the dawn of civilization, forever changing the course of history. As we delve deeper into Europe's past, we'll continue to uncover the layers of this fascinating history, revealing the roots of the world we live in today. As time passed, Europe entered a period of great transformation known as the Middle Ages. This era, stretching from the 5th to the 15th century, was a time of tremendous change, marked by the rise of feudalism, a system where land was exchanged for military service. This system structured society into a hierarchy, with the king at the top, followed by his vassals, knights, and peasants at the bottom. Then there were the Crusades, a series of religious wars extending over 200 years. These wars were primarily between European Christians and Muslims in the Middle East, with the city of Jerusalem being a key point of contention. The Crusades not only led to significant loss of life, but also brought about profound cultural and economic changes affecting the course of history in Europe and beyond. As the Middle Ages drew to a close, a new era was on the horizon, the Renaissance. This period, spanning the 14th to the 17th century, was characterized by a renewed interest in the culture and knowledge of ancient Greece and Rome. It was a time of great intellectual and artistic activity, with advancements in science, literature, and the arts. This cultural reawakening paved the way for the Enlightenment in the late 17th and 18th centuries. The Enlightenment, also known as the Age of Reason, was a movement that championed reason, individualism, and skepticism of traditional authority. It was during this time that philosophers like John Locke and Voltaire questioned the status quo, advocating freedom, democracy, and the separation of church and state. These centuries of transformation brought about a new era of thought and culture, setting the stage for the modern world. Europe, once a mosaic of feudal states, had evolved into a hub of intellectual and cultural innovation. From the castles of the Middle Ages to the coffee houses of the Enlightenment, Europe's history was marked by periods of profound change and progress. Every corner of the continent bears the marks of these eras, telling a story that continues to captivate us today. But Europe's history is not just one of enlightenment and progress. It's also a history of conflict and war. As we delve deeper into the annals of European history, we can't help but notice the profound impact of wars and conflicts that have shaped the continent. Let's start with the Hundred Years' War, a series of armed conflicts between the kingdoms of England and France during the Middle Ages. This war, lasting from the mid-14th to the mid-15th century, was actually a series of wars, each with its own causes and outcomes. It was a time of knights and castles, of kings and queens, and it left an indelible mark on both nations. Fast forward to the early 19th century, and we find Europe embroiled in the Napoleonic Wars, a series of major conflicts pitting the French Empire, led by Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, against an array of European powers. These wars reshaped the political landscape of Europe and led to the rise of nationalism, a powerful force that would shape the continent's history for centuries to come. Then came the two world wars of the 20th century, global conflicts that resulted in unprecedented devastation. World War I, often called the Great War, was a conflict of unimaginable scale, involving more than 30 nations and resulting in the death of millions. It was followed just 2 decades later by World War II, a war even more destructive than the first, which saw the rise of totalitarian regimes and led to the Holocaust, one of the darkest chapters in human history. These wars left deep scars on Europe, but they also forced nations to redefine themselves and their relationships with one another. They led to the creation of international institutions and the establishment of new norms and principles in international relations. The conflicts of the past, while devastating, have also been instrumental in shaping the Europe we know today. As we remember these tumultuous times, we are reminded of the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring quest for peace. One of the most significant events in recent European history is the rise and fall of the Berlin Wall. This imposing concrete barrier, fortified with barbed wire, came to symbolize the ideological divide not just within Germany, but across the world during the Cold War. In the aftermath of World War II, Germany found itself divided into 4 zones, each controlled by one of the victorious powers: the United States, Britain, France, and the Soviet Union. The city of Berlin, although located deep within the Soviet sector, was also divided among the 4 powers. As tensions escalated between the Western Allies and the Soviet Union, the situation in Berlin grew increasingly fraught. In the early hours of August 13, 1961, East German soldiers began constructing a barbed wire fence around West Berlin, marking the birth of the Berlin Wall. Over time, this crude fence evolved into a sophisticated system of concrete walls, armed guards, and deadly death strips. It was a physical embodiment of Winston Churchill's famed Iron Curtain speech, encapsulating the tensions of the Cold War. For nearly 3 decades, the Berlin Wall stood as a stark symbol of division. Families were torn apart, and countless individuals risked their lives attempting to cross it. However, change was on the horizon. By the late 1980s, the political landscape was shifting. Protests swept across East Germany, and on November 9, 1989, in a surprising turn of events, the East German government announced that East Berliners could visit the West. That night, jubilant crowds swarmed the wall. Some crossed freely into West Berlin for the first time in decades, while others took hammers and picks to the wall itself. This momentous event marked the beginning of the end for the Berlin Wall and paved the way for the reunification of Germany the following year. The fall of the Berlin Wall marked a pivotal moment in European history, signaling the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. This monumental event not only reunited a city and a nation, but also set the stage for the end of the Cold War and a new chapter in world history. Today, Europe stands as a testament to its tumultuous past, but also to its ability to adapt and progress. In the wake of the bloody conflicts of the 20th century, the nations of Europe sought a new path forward, one marked by cooperation and unity. Thus, the European Union was born, a political and economic union aimed at promoting peace, stability, and prosperity across the continent. However, the road to unity has not been without its bumps. The United Kingdom's decision to leave the Union, a move known as Brexit, sent shockwaves throughout Europe and the world. This event sparked intense debates about the benefits and drawbacks of economic integration, the meaning of sovereignty, and the future direction of the Union. But Brexit is only one piece of the puzzle. Across Europe, countries grapple with pressing contemporary issues. Immigration, for example, has become a hot-button topic. As people from conflict-ridden regions seek refuge in Europe, nations wrestle with questions of humanitarian responsibility, security, and cultural integration. Furthermore, the rise of nationalism poses yet another challenge. As some citizens express dissatisfaction with globalization and call for a return to national sovereignty, leaders are forced to strike a delicate balance between local interests and broader European solidarity. In the midst of these challenges, Europe remains a beacon of culture, innovation, and democratic values. From the bustling streets of London to the tranquil canals of Amsterdam, from the towering peaks of the Alps to the sunny shores of the Mediterranean, Europe is a tapestry of diverse cultures, languages, and histories. Yet even as it looks to the future, Europe cannot escape the shadows of its past. The walls of its cities bear the scars of wars and revolutions, and its museums house relics of empires long gone. Every cobblestone street, every ancient castle, every modern skyscraper tells a story of triumph and tragedy, of change and continuity. Modern Europe continues to evolve, navigating the complexities of the 21st century while grappling with its historical legacy. And as we look back at Europe's history, there are still many questions that remain unanswered. Europe's historical tapestry is rich, complex, and full of mysteries that continue to intrigue historians and scholars alike. Let's take a little detour to the United Kingdom, specifically to Stonehenge, a prehistoric monument that has puzzled experts for centuries. Who built these colossal stones? And more importantly, how? The theories range from the practical to the supernatural. But the true answer remains elusive. Now imagine the sun-drenched hills of Italy, home to the lost city of Pompeii. Buried under volcanic ash in 79 AD, it's a snapshot of Roman life frozen in time. But what caused the sudden demise of this thriving city? Was it a natural disaster? Or were there signs that were ignored? Moving to the far north, the Vikings of Scandinavia left behind a legacy of conquest and exploration. But what happened to these seafaring warriors? Did they simply fade into history? Or did they assimilate into the cultures they encountered? In the heart of Bosnia and Herzegovina, we find the perplexing Bosnian pyramids. These geometric hills have sparked a heated debate amongst archaeologists. Are they natural formations or evidence of an ancient, advanced civilization? In Ireland, the Celtic high crosses stand as silent witnesses to a bygone era. These ornate stone crosses are believed to mark important religious sites, but their true purpose and the stories they tell remain a mystery. And let's not forget the enigmatic Voynich manuscript. This illustrated codex, written in an unknown language or code, has baffled cryptographers for over 100 years. What secrets does it hold, and who wrote this indecipherable text? These mysteries remind us that history is not just about the past, it's also about the continuous journey of discovery and understanding. From the monoliths of Stonehenge to the cryptic pages of the Voynich manuscript, Europe's historical mysteries continue to captivate our imagination and fuel our curiosity. And who knows what other secrets are yet to be unearthed as we delve deeper into the annals of Europe's past. European history is a vast and fascinating tapestry, woven with countless threads of culture, conflict, and change. It's a story that unfolds across centuries and continents, shaped by the rise and fall of empires, the discovery of new lands, and the relentless march of progress. We've traveled through time from the birth of ancient civilizations to the formation of modern nations. We've seen how borders shifted and expanded, how kingdoms rose and fell, and how people and ideas flowed across the continent. We've delved into the Middle Ages, a time of castles and crusaders, feudalism and chivalry. We've witnessed the Renaissance, when art and science, literature and thought flourished like never before. We've explored the Enlightenment, where reason and individualism began to challenge the old order. We've navigated the age of conflict, from the Hundred Years' War to the Napoleonic Wars and the World Wars of the 20th century. We've examined the Cold War, a struggle not of armies but of ideologies which divided Europe and the world. We've studied the rise and fall of the Berlin Wall, a symbol of division and a testament to the human spirit's longing for freedom. We've also ventured into the realm of modern Europe with its triumphs and challenges, its unity and diversity. And we've unraveled some of Europe's historical mysteries, those intriguing questions that make the past come alive, like why did the Roman Empire fall? What caused the Black Death? And how did a small island nation like Britain build a global empire? These are just a few of the threads in the rich tapestry of European history. Each one tells a story, adds a layer of complexity, a splash of color, a hint of mystery. Together they create a picture that is as diverse as it is dynamic, as compelling as it is complex. As we close this chapter of our journey, we leave you with a sense of wonder and an encouragement to keep exploring the captivating history of Europe.